Welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette, featuring sysadmin expert Don Pizzette, security specialist Daniel Lowry, and Peter.
Hello and welcome to Technado with Don Pizzette. I'm your host, Peter Van Rysdam, and I am joined, as always, by Don Pizzette. Don, how you doing?
I am doing great. You know, we've got a huge announcement from Microsoft coming up that will be a lot of fun to talk about, and we've got a really cool guest, so this should be a good episode. Not like our normal ones.
Windows 9?
Yeah, they're going back and filling in the gap. It's amazing stuff.
I knew it would come eventually. And Daniel, how are you doing today?
I'm thinking about how confusing it would be as if they did go back to Windows 9 and then came out with Windows 9.5 and people are like, are we on Windows 95 or
Ooh,
that
would
could really
cause big
screw some
problems.
people up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And of course it's like retro. I've just a whole scenario in my brain.
Instead of Windows 11, it could be Windows 9.11, Windows for Workgroups.
Windows for workers.
Windows
awesome.
9.11 just does not sound.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, all right, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and nip that one in the bud.
Yeah.
All right, we are joined by a special guest today. We have Dmitry Nemirovsky, who is the co-founder and COO of Atacama. Dmitry, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you guys?
Doing fantastic, and I love your background because it's company logo, but it looks like you're like a superhero or something.
That's what my kids say.
Yeah.
Okay, that is true. That's good to know. All right, well, we're going to talk all about file level encryption and things that I don't understand, but I will after our first segment, which is rapid fire questions.
Who do you work for?
What's new?
Who are you?
What's happening?
What's wrong with you?
All right, Dimitri, in this segment, we are going to be rapidly firing questions at you. We'll each kind of go around and ask you a question. You'll have approximately 1 minute to answer each question. You'll see a timer pop up on the right side of your screen. If you take too long, Peter will buzz you. Like that, we'll move on to the next question. We are going to start with Peter, oddly enough.
Oh, me. All right, perfect. So I'll start with the easy question. So can you kind of give us an overview of Atacama and what you guys do?
Singularly focused on information security software. And the first software that we brought to market is our encryption solution. Encryption, people have been using it for millennia. But unfortunately, in the past century or so, it's really slowed down from a development standpoint and a solution. When you look at the cybersecurity tech stack, it really is a gaping hole that a lot of producers out there right now are not filling and relying on legacy solutions. We are an innovative new approach to encryption. In a nutshell, it's basically the equivalent of multi-factor encryption. So you're using two devices to decrypt something.
Pretty cool stuff. Now, one thing that we usually ask people is about how they got their start in IT, like what led them into a technology career. But I happen to know that you had a background in law. I think you listed somewhere that you're a recovering attorney. So how does that work? Like, how did...
It's a logical jump, Don.
Yeah, does that help you with what you do right now, or was it a total switch for you?
Yeah, nothing in the law helps with anything else. So let's start there. I do have a sponsor. I've been clean for about 4,862 days, and I'm quite proud of that. But
how many billable hours is that?
Yeah.
it's a
lot of
lot.
money left
The
on the
wife,
table.
the wife reminds me every day. I assure you. But I took my first coding class in 8th grade. Always loved technology. I really lost my way sometime between high school and college. Decided to get a law degree and an MBA. Always loved technology. I really started my legal career during the dot-com era. And, I was considered the tech guy at my law firm because I knew how to use Excel. And I kid you not, I was the tech guy because of that. So I'm always stuck around, really enamored by new and intriguing, technology. And what really led me to leave the law and move into tech, believe it or not, was the Bitcoin and blockchain technology.
Really cool stuff. I was actually looking at your website before we got on here, and you seem to be very privacy focused, which is awesome. I have recently also just become gone down the rabbit hole of privacy and how we are woefully and inadequately protected as our personal privacy. So I like what you got going on here, but I don't understand how the heck do you get this thing to work between these different cloud solutions and whatnot? How does it different from traditional file level encryption?
Yeah. So traditional encryption really is not file level. It's very difficult to get down to that file level, that granularity. Most encryption, we all used it today when we logged into our computers. Everyone listening on the call today, when they logged into our computers, or even your phone, when you unlocked your phone's encrypted, your computer's encrypted. The problem is it's encrypted with a single key, right? Your password. Or your biometrics on your phone, right? Your face, your thumbprint, whatever the case may be, or even a code, right? It's still that one password. Encrypting granularly at the file level is a game changer because it's the equivalent of password protecting all of your files with a unique password, if that were actually practical and solvable. That's what we do because the underpinnings of our technology is what's called distributed key management. And instead of you having to remember all these different passwords, we basically manage those passwords. But those passwords are the equivalent of a 256-bit randomly generated cryptographic, secure thing, right? For each file. So it's a game changer. Really is a paradigm shift away from the way that encryption has been used for the past multiple decades, and the way that we're able to integrate with the Google Drives, the Dropboxes, the Boxes is we are platform agnostic because you're encrypting things before they are synced to the back end, and that's how we solve for that.
So, obviously you talked about moving from the law to IT, but you kind of just moved right from that to creating this company, if I'm reading your resume correctly. So what was it that prompted you? I mean, was there a problem you saw? Did someone come to you and say, hey, this is something that's going on? What made you take that leap and go ahead and change?
So I was still practicing law, and so we're based here in New York City, and it's where, I grew up in my legal career. I spent time, on Wall Street, pretty much representing all the financial institutions. And when I first learned about Bitcoin, this was around 2013, 2014, I would go to these meetups, and most everyone in the room looked like, not disparaging anyone, that they worked out of their parents' basement and they were looking to hack someone. And then a bunch of us that were still wearing suits at the time, the ties, we'd congregate because we spoke the same language, traditional Wall Street institutional. And getting enamored by Bitcoin and the blockchain technology, the group amongst us kind of said, well, what can we do here? There's an interesting, play here. Can we actually build a solution that runs on the Bitcoin blockchain? And we started actually the first iteration of the company before 2017, or I should say the venture, was actually been building an identity play that ran on the Bitcoin blockchain. And it was a double-edged sword because we would go to our, contacts in the banking space and say, hey, we have this really cool solution that utilizes the power of the Bitcoin blockchain. And they were like, oh my God, that's fantastic. But you do realize it's Bitcoin and blockchain. I really can't sell this right now. This was back in 2015, 2014, right? When people were concerned, they really didn't understand what Bitcoin was. And so we sat down and reevaluated and said, well, the blockchain runs on this distributed key, private public key pairing, and it secures today the equivalent of over $1 trillion. Can we harness that power? And our solution today is blockchain inspired, but does not have anything to do with Bitcoin or blockchain. But that was the inspiration. That's what caused us to start the company.
Sure, that makes sense. And last question is real quick. Is this just for businesses, or is this something that like I as an individual could use as well?
Up until 3 weeks ago, it was exclusively for businesses. We actually launched an individual user version for anyone to go ahead and download and begin using. And for that privacy aspect, I think, one of our core values is everyone should control their information. And we give people the power to do so.
Very cool. Very cool.
Peter, I want to sneak in one
please.
Extra question on this.
Bonus.
Shouldn't be too hard, but one of the early lessons that I got in cybersecurity was that it's not always a great idea to adopt the latest and greatest shiny thing in cybersecurity. A lot of the encryption algorithms we use have been around for 20 years, decades, field tested. So how do you counter that when you have a new technology? You guys have been around less than 10 years. How do you have you seen resistance for people like adopting the technology, or are people just ready to go?
Yeah, some people are ready to go. Some people are not, right? That Challenger sale, right? This is the famous book, right? It's funny. You said exactly what a potential opportunity said to me last week. It was an 8 o'clock call with a government entity in the kingdom, capital K, that's Saudi Arabia in the Middle East. And he loved the software, loved the solution, and his hesitancy was exactly what you just described. He said, I don't want to be the first one. And my response to him was, you're looking at this the wrong way. You should be looking at this from the standpoint of job security, as opposed to whatever risk may live with you working with a startup like ours. To be clear, we have not created our own proprietary encryption algorithm. We're utilizing a NIST government standard AES 256-bit encryption algorithm. We've just repurposed it for our own, technology, right? Our own implementation. So while there's always a risk with startups, at the end of the day, we currently have thousands of licenses in commercial use. Knock on wood, we've not had any issues, but yeah, no one remembers, the second team to land on the moon. Everyone remembers the first. And that's the way I counter that and basically say, if you want a solution that can solve today's attack surface, right, today's threats, you need to be up to speed with the most innovative technology out there. So, which is not to say we're not going to have problems selling to traditional, big Fortune 50 companies. And I'm purposely saying 50 because we have sold to Fortune 100 companies. But there's going to be resistance for sure. For sure. That's just part of, nature of the beast here.
Cool. It was Apollo 12, right?
No,
I don't know their
Apollo
names.
12 was scrubbed, and then Apollo 13, they made it to the moon but couldn't land because...
Wait, so it's no one walked the moon between Apollo 11 and...
No, there was Apollo 11. There was Apollo 12.
11 was
the first one.
Was the first
That's
one.
Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin.
I thought 12 got scrubbed.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe. We'll
because somebody got sick. I think somebody got the measles.
No, that was in Apollo 13.
That's in
one
the
guy
movie.
got.
Right.
That's in the movie.
That's in the movie.
No, but the guy on 13, he got replaced by...
No.
We digress. We'll get to
He
this.
got replaced by Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon replaced
No, he was on the Apollo 13 mission, but got replaced
Bill Paxton.
by No, not Bill Paxton.
According to
I think I have a
Wikipedia, Apollo 12 did actually
they go?
land on the moon.
Oh, well, there you go.
Well,
Yeah.
Daniel, granted, doesn't believe that Apollo 11 landed on the moon.
No, in Daniel's defense,
Now there's stars in the background. How do you get that?
it says they scrubbed the mission after they got back.
Oh,
So,
There you go.
yeah.
We're going to cancel this. Give your rocks back.
the movie's a lying piece of crap.
All right, well, let's move on. While we have you here, Dimitri, I want to get your take on something in our next segment, which is this or that. All right, so in this segment, we take a look at two different things and kind of compare and contrast. So we want to talk about cybersecurity and information security, which to me seem pretty interchangeable these days. But Dimitri, I know you've got some opinions on that. So can you help us kind of? Is it just web? Is it things that are on the web are the cyber part? No.
So it's unfortunately, it is used interchangeably. And I think a lot of security practitioners don't focus enough on information security. So when I explain this particular topic, and I am very opinionated about this topic, and I'm not wrong. I'm never wrong.
Yeah,
but-
strong views.
So if you think of cybersecurity as the perimeter, right? The analogy I like to use is a castle, right? With a moat, with a really tall fence, with the guards. That's cybersecurity, right? Cybersecurity is focused on keeping out the adversary, the intruders, the attackers. So you inevitably make those walls thicker, the fences taller, the moats deeper. That's the resiliency against the attack, right? It is focused and it is always monitoring the perimeter, the systems. How do I make sure they're not getting breached, including the hardware that is being used in that effort, right? Information security really is a subset of cybersecurity. Information security and anyone deploying a proper cybersecurity, stack should have a component within that stack that is focused on information security. It is focused on protecting the information, right, within that castle, within the perimeter, within that network. So if you think again of that analogy of that castle, information security is how do I protect the crown jewels? How do I protect those individual jewels in such a way where if the adversaries make their way in, the treasure trove within the castle remains secure? And so if you have a proper, program that you've deployed, when your perimeter, and I purposely say when your perimeter is compromised, when your network or systems are breached, how do you have systems in place? Do you have systems in place that are there to protect the sensitive information, right? Such that when that perimeter is compromised, my information remains secure. That is information security. And they can't rely on the same threshold. They can't rely on the same pillar that makes information security useless, right? If you're relying on the same security mechanisms, for example, identity and access management controls, right? If you're relying on those for both your cybersecurity, the perimeter, and your information security, the sensitive information, once that identity stack is compromised, now your information is also available to the adversary. So very important from a security posture to understand the differences, the nuances, and the various products that are available out there to deal with this head on, right? They're really, right now, if you look at the cybersecurity space and the vendors and the various offerings out there, I would say almost everything is focused on cybersecurity. And now there's somewhat of a sea change because there's a realization that, hey, that's not enough because we're continuously getting attacked, we're continuously getting breached. And I don't care how buttoned up your cybersecurity systems may be, how awesome your policies and procedures are. The weakest link is the human element. And they will inevitably click on that link. They will download the file. They will do what they're not supposed to do, not because they want to introduce the risk into the organization, but they're human. They're busy. They're doing different things. And if you're not properly protecting your sensitive information outside of that perimeter, the confines of the systems you're using to protect that perimeter, then you will suffer devastating results. That's just a guarantee.
We've actually seen several attacks just in the last year and a half that have all kind of started as phishing or social engineering. An employee gives up their credentials and the attacker is able to use those credentials on a VPN to VPN in and connect, bypassing all the protections that you mentioned, as the perimeter. So now the attacker's on the inside. And I can see what you're saying. If the information is not secured, you run into a problem. But I've seen other solutions, and as you were describing kind of what you do with the multi-key encrypted files, I was thinking about other products that kind of do something similar. There's like Cryptomator is I don't know if it's open source or not, but it's a free little program where you can create these vaults, you encrypt your files, but you mount the vault and it gets mounted to a drive letter. So if an attacker has credentials and they access your machine and you left that vault mounted, now they can walk right into the information. So how do you stop a user from like unlocking all the way down to the information like that?
Yeah. And that's a great point. And it's really important. And it's a great example, right? With Cryptomator, whenever you ask a user to change their existing workflow and you're introducing friction that they're not accustomed to, they will find a way to circumvent it, or they will not follow the necessary procedures to ensure the integrity of the security that particular system or tool or solution or software purports to offer, but is actually delivering on, right? And that therein lies the rub, right? And there's always this balance between security on the one hand and usability on the other hand. And you can make things 100% secure, but not usable, right? I can basically take my organization and make it completely offline. We won't make any money, but we'll be secure. That doesn't work, right? So there's always this counterbalance, right? That the security practitioners struggle with, and it's a continuous struggle. There's no silver bullet. It's always going to be there. So you have to strike that balance in such a way where you are delivering on the security, but not in any way compromising the usability, right? The UX UI of the solution, and that's, as much time as we spend on the security aspect of our software, we spend an equal, if not more, time making sure that it's not only easy to use, but doesn't allow the user to circumvent the controls, right, to diminish the security that our solution is bringing to the table. So from a security, professional standpoint, it's probably one of the hardest tasks, and they're already walking around with a target on their back, right? Users hate them. Oh, you make me change my password every other day. Oh, you make me put in this code. Oh, you make me type this thing on my phone so I can log in. I hate you. Can't you get rid of all this, right? Because they're not focused on security, regular users, right?
Yeah, you can get fired.
Security
that's a good way to lose. You don't have to do that anymore when you get fired.
There you go.
We got to start following the example from our politicians and do the big ask, right? We're going to take all your freedoms away. And then, you don't do that. Okay, we'll only take these. Okay, that's better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm glad we agree.
Okay, so 2FA is not that bad, I guess. Well, that's fine.
I liked your argument there, and you clearly were very opinionated on that. But I don't like that you used the castle analogy. I would have gone with another Kevin Bacon movie. and maybe said Tremors.
Great flick.
Where the information is in that bunker that the dad from Family
You
Ties.
broke into the
rec
wrong rec room.
Yeah, I remember his
The
name.
wrong man's rec room. Is that what he said?
I was hoping you were going to go to Footloose, but okay. Tremors
Yeah,
is-
that's a tough one to
To-
stretch to cybersecurity. So the city council is the
Is like John Lithgow.
Exactly, and you want to let them dance. You
Right.
have to
sure
let them
dancing
dance.
is
So-
the cyber criminal.
usability.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Actually, there you go. There you go. They prevented the acts. They prevented the kids from
Right.
And his
partying.
daughter was an insider threat.
But in the
Exactly.
end, the cyber criminals win, which is true to life in a lot of cases.
That's basically how it goes.
But not if you use Atacama. There you go.
Am I the only one who's never seen this movie?
You've never seen Footloose?
No.
You know, I've never
Footloose?
actually seen Footloose, but I everyone knows
Are
the
you
premise.
kidding me?
Yeah,
You've never seen Footloose
the
either?
town they banned dancing, and Kevin Bacon's like,
Yeah.
I ain't
It
having
was like
that.
a
And then
Bible
they
Belt.
dance.
So how many people were
Baptist.
killed in the movie?
Like 70 at least. John Lithgow brought God's thunder down. And just,
Footloose First Blood was like 100. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was
All right,
good.
good times. Well, I understand that you guys have a webinar series starting up again soon. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So every other Thursday, in addition to ad hoc, impromptu webinars, we host what we refer to as a 15-minute coffee break. And I or one of my team members present the software. We do a live demo. Anyone can join. We then share the recording with anyone who participates. And it's a really cool way to see our software in action and understand the value proposition and see if it works for you and something that you want to have additional discussions with us about.
So is that starting the next Thursday after Labor Day?
The
Or
next
the
Thursday
one?
after Labor Day, I think
Okay.
the 9th. September
Fantastic.
9th.
All right, and you can find out more information about that, I assume, on your website, which is atacama.com, ATAKAMA.com.
Exactly.
Sounds good. Well, Dimitri, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. We appreciate your insight and kind of learning about a cool new use of that technology. So thanks so much.
Pleasure, guys. Thank you. I'm going to go watch Footloose now.
There you go. Yeah, as you all should at home too. But actually, just stick with us for a little bit more. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about the news from this week on TechNado with Don Pizzette.
How do IT leaders stay on top of their game with the IT Pro TV webinar series? Twice per month, IT Pro TV presents a webinar on current topics in the IT world.
What are some of the key things we should be doing in our organization to make sure that we're prepared for disasters and that...
So what do you say we go ahead and get started with today's topic, how to train your end users to
threats. So we're going to talk about some of the major things that you need to do to help keep your people safe while they're working remote.
You can catch IT Pro TV webinars live or watch on demand when your schedule permits. See them all. Visit itpro.tv/webinars today.
All right, welcome back to TechNado with Don Pizzette. Thank you so much to Dimitri from Atacama for joining us. Does Atacama, like add a comma, have anything to do with like technology or encryption?
Not that I know
No.
of.
He
Okay.
probably had like a traumatic experience in grade school
It
English
almost
class.
sounds like an anime name or something.
Yeah.
We should have asked.
How did we not ask
We
the
missed
origin
that.
of that?
Yeah.
What was the dude from Street Fighter 2? Was it Akama?
I have no
I
idea.
think it was
No, isn't
Akama.
that the company that makes like Akamai?
I don't know. That's Akamai, yeah.
All right. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we got a lot of news. First, we'd asked for your mama jokes about Don's mother, and everyone was too scared to send any in. But I have found a few, so maybe I'll just sprinkle them through. But just to open, Don's mom is so fat she was baptized at SeaWorld. But if you do have a
that's
your
a good
mama
one.
joke, go ahead and send that in at technado.com. And if we read it on the air, we'll send you a shirt. I really want to send you a shirt for insulting Don's mother.
That's not funny at all.
Are you offended for SeaWorld?
I don't feel offense.
Oh.
All right. Let's. Oh, this is a tech one. Your mama's so dumb she went to the dentist to get Bluetooth. Okay. All right. Well, we've got big news from the world of Windows and from Redmond coming out. And our first one, this is from right from the horse's mouth at blogs.windows.com. Windows 11 available on October 5th. That's
They couldn't have waited one more month. Because
That's
then it would have
soon.
been November 5th, which, as you know,
You know, I just realized before the podcast, Peter, I told you that it was going to be launching Monday, which would be September the 5th. So I'm a month ahead of the news, which just shows our dedication at Technado to report things so
you
quickly.
really love the Windows all of a
So
sudden.
they did announce the launch date, which is the important part of this article. So if you've been wondering, because we've been talking about Windows 11 for the last couple of months because they announced it way back at the
Was it Build?
Build conference. There we go. I was trying to remember the name. But they hadn't told us exactly when we were going to get it. Well, that word has now dropped. It is going to be October 5th, which answers my question from earlier where I was saying, wow, September 5th, that's a weird date. It's a Sunday. And it's September. Microsoft normally does launch in October, but it is going to be October 5th. Now I got to look at what day of the week that is. That is a Tuesday. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Like Patch Tuesday. Will it get patches that day?
Well, so
That'd be great.
So what'll happen is, you normally do your Windows update and the big Patch Tuesday where they push things. That's the day that Windows 11 will become available as an upgrade to existing Windows 10 clients. And so if you are set for automatic updates and you're set for major updates, right, because that is something you can disable, but if it is on, then likely that Wednesday when you wake up in the morning, you'll turn on your computer and there will be a message on your screen saying, your computer is ready for Windows 11. Do you want to do it? And like it's already downloaded and ready to rock at that point. You just click the install button and go if you're ready to take that plunge. So
And so you can
October
say
5th.
no. You can say no at that
No,
point.
you
can't
can say no.
Eventually, I'm sure it will be.
Well, so
Mandatory.
what they did with Windows 10, if we remember, right, because they did the same thing.
Right,
You had
became an
Windows
upgrade
7,
option, yeah.
and they said, if you do the upgrade now, it's free. But only for a little while. Eventually, it won't be free,
Is
right?
it still free?
It's still free.
Yeah, that's what I
so,
thought.
It's been how many years now? 9 years?
It's been a hot
Around
minute.
to it.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since Windows 10 came out, and it's still free. But that's likely what they'll do with Windows 11. They're already saying that, like, don't hesitate to buy a computer right now. It'll be a free upgrade to Windows 11 for a while. We'll see.
Yeah, because I feel like with the Mac, it doesn't download the update until I say, yes, give me Big Sur or give me High Sierra or whatever. It then goes and downloads.
Yeah, in this case, it will, assuming you have the hard drive space for it, it will download if your computer is supported. I guess that's something worth mentioning too, and kind of ties into our next article, which is not everybody is going to get the update message because Microsoft put some much more strict requirements on doing the deployment. So for example, if you want to do the automatic upgrade, you need to have if you have an Intel processor, it needs to be Generation 7 or newer, and they've got some limits around AMDs as well. Well, what if you have like a 6th generation Intel? Well, that's still a viable processor, works just fine, but they will not do an automatic upgrade on that. So Microsoft did announce that if you have unsupported hardware, you're not completely out of luck. It just won't automatically upgrade through Windows Update. You'll have to download the ISO image and either make a DVD. Nobody does that anymore, but make
Don
a
still
USB
does.
installer.
Yeah, Don's got DVDs stacked up on his desk. It's
And
great.
so you can use the Windows installation media tool, and it'll help you build a USB key, and you can upgrade that way or do a clean install if you want. So they did back off of that a little bit.
Yeah, this one's coming to us from tomshardware.com, where the headline is Microsoft will let enthusiasts install Windows 11 on non-compliant PCs, report says. And that sounds a little complicated for people. And it's funny because the people that this would affect are the people with older machines that maybe aren't as tech savvy. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, if you think about like when Generation 7 Intel processors came out, and I should have looked that up, but like last year they were selling Generation 9, we're on Generation 10, 11 and 12 are roadmapped. I think they're actually about to start selling 11. So Generation 7, that's 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years,
5,
probably
yeah.
3 years ago.
Okay.
So if you got a computer that's older than that, it might not meet what they require. And it's because of some of the new security features and other things that Microsoft's implementing. They're relying on some of the features found in those processors.
So my Core 2 Duo, not going to cut it.
Yeah, no, it
So you're
isn't.
talking about like the i7s?
Yeah.
Not i7, it's 7th generation. So
It's
it's
the generation of the Intel processors.
I got you. Because I was looking at i7s going, those came out in 2010.
when you look at an Intel processor's model number, it'll either be 3 or 4 digits, right? And so like mine at home is a 9900, so I have an i9.
It's made in 99.
But the first 9 means that it's a 9th generation.
I see.
So and right now if you buy one, I guess it would actually be 5 digits because you'd get like an 11 or a 10 900 is what
10-0,
replaced
yeah,
mine. So that'd be
something,
5
yeah.
digits. Yeah. So if you look at yours, and actually here, let's see what my laptop is now. I'm curious. I don't actually know what my laptop has in it. I know, like you said, Daniel, I know I have an i7, but which one do I have?
I got a nifty sticker right here. It tells me mine's a 10th gen.
Mine's an 8650, so I have an 8th gen in my laptop.
There you go.
So I can upgrade to Windows 11. Woohoo!
You have where do I see that? Let's see.
Oh, you're on a Mac, right?
Oh,
So
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Hey, I want Windows too. It seems
Yeah.
really exciting.
Wait, you got a new laptop, right? Isn't
do.
You do. That's right.
Yours is an M1, so you don't
No,
get it
it's
at
not.
all.
You get
It's
jacked
not
into
the
it.
one. No, it is a 2.6
Intel?
gigahertz 6-core Intel Core i7.
Well, yours is already out of date then.
Yeah.
It's not an M1. Might as well throw that
I
in the
assume
trash.
that it was bought on sale
Yeah.
by
we
By the
we
actual
wrestled it
company.
away from some old lady that didn't know.
some child that
Yeah.
really wanted
No, I
it.
actually signed the purchase order on that one. So if you want more than 16 gigs of RAM right now, they don't sell M1s that way. So you've got to go and get the Intel one, which they still sell.
How much RAM you got in the thing? 32?
Oh,
should
I
be
got all the
32.
RAM. Yeah, because I do, some
For
video.
the editing.
editing
you
and
do?
stuff
Yeah,
on
makes
this,
sense.
Because of all the tabs he has open in
No,
Chrome.
memory 16 gigs.
I'm not going to lie.
16 gigs of memory.
Oh, you do have 16.
Where's my M1?
What a
Oh, there you
loser.
go. Yeah, where's your M1?
Putting in a support ticket as
Yeah,
we
some
Who buys these
junk,
things?
Man.
I don't
You
know.
might as
Do
well
I
just
want
throw it on
M1?
the ground and stomp on it.
All right. Well, one more article about Windows 11 before we move on over from bleepingcomputer.com. Western Digital. No, that's not it. That's not it at all. I clicked away.
Still on
Very
Tom's hardware.
nicely done.
Here it is. Here it is. Tom's Hardware. Yeah, we're staying there. Microsoft will disable updates on unsupported Windows 11 installs. That's not it either.
That's
think
it.
you-
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
it. That
So-
sounds a lot like the other article.
Do you remember the TV show Joe Schmo?
Yeah.
Yes.
The fake
was
reality
great.
show, and they had the Falcon twist, right? So there'd be a challenge, and they would tell you the challenge. It wouldn't sound so bad, like you have to eat these pies, and then there was the Falcon twist. You had to eat the pie with a straw, or something crazy like that. Well, Microsoft did that with these updates. They said, "Oh, if you have unsupported hardware, don't worry, you can actually install Windows 11." And then they threw out the Falcon twist, which they should really call it that, but
They
they
really
don't.
should. I like that.
They threw out the twist, which was, hey, if you do that, it'll work, but we might not let you use Windows Update anymore. So
That sounds like a feature
So it's
based
going to be
on.
horribly insecure, like the moment after you. do
yeah,
this.
yeah.
I mean, based on our YouTube comments, that sounds like a feature to a lot of people that hate Windows updates, even though they don't understand how that keeps
how
them
it's
secure.
so important. Yeah. Yep. So it's still if you have supported hardware. Obviously, the hardware manufacturers these days, like Apple, and even the software in the case of Microsoft, they want you to upgrade by buying a new
yeah.
computer.
And what's a new computer cost these
Is
days?
that why that one article that we just looked at had like a bunch of, and now's the best time to actually buy a new computer? And then it listed like all these different manufacturers and their laptops.
They did have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we saw that Russian computer a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
I bought 3 of those.
Get a good deal on it.
I agree.
I think
Love them.
I think
There's no
that-
malware on them at all.
So just know that we are basically a month away from Windows 11 dropping, and many of you will have support for it right away. You can jump on that bandwagon if you want, or many of you may not be able to run it, so just be aware.
Yeah, that October launch date makes a lot more sense because I was like, why would you drop it in between Kanye's album and Drake's album?
Good point.
And do I have to disable updates on my Linux Mint to keep it from updating?
Yeah,
to
because
Windows?
Microsoft's actually got that worked out
Okay,
now.
jeez.
And
Yeah, you wake up on Monday and you're like,
it's all Windows
how
11.
did you do this?
What has happened?
Edge
here?
is my default browser.
Ah,
What?
son of a.
Just when I thought I was out.
They pulled me back in.
There we
Clippy
go.
pops up.
Yeah.
I bet you're wondering where I came from.
Hey, Daniel.
You'll never get rid of me.
I don't forgive you.
Clippy, no.
All right. Now we're going to go over to bleepingcomputer.com and look at this one. Western Digital confirms speed-crippling SN550 SSD flash change. So this means that the drive that I already would have bought that ran fast is going to now run slower?
No,
No.
no. Did you buy one of these?
No.
Okay,
I
all
was
right.
it was like the, collective
Okay,
we.
got it. So I almost bought this very drive the other month for a little Raspberry Pi project I was doing, which it wouldn't have mattered, would have been fine for that. But the Western Digital SN550, it is one of the least expensive SSDs available if you go on Amazon or wherever to purchase one of these, which makes it a great little project SSD, or people will use it to upgrade their laptops if they're going from spinning disk to SSD for the first time. So it's a very popular disk. Well, the chip shortage has popped up once again, And we're starting to find where a lot of manufacturers are having to change as a result to limited availability of chips. And I believe we talked about this on the podcast before, like how Ford was having to start manufacturing cars without wireless charging in them because they ran out of the wireless charging logic chips. So they actually had to like downgrade their models. Well, Western Digital ran into something similar. They were not able to secure the amount of chips they needed for the I believe it's the caching chip for the SSD. And so they had to swap out a different part. And when they did that, they left everything the same. It's still the SN550. It's marketed the same model number, same barcode. But thanks to that different chip, under certain situations, the SSD is now 50% slower when it comes to write speed. Same model number, same price, 50% slower writes. Some people are not happy about that.
It seems like that
You
scene
think?
from Ace Ventura 2 where his friend is like interpreting what he is saying to the tribe. And he's like, "Did you just refer to me as like a white devil?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Leave that part out." That's them. Just leave that out. Just leave it out that we
Now,
it's the same thing.
I will say, if you go on Reddit, if you go on Tom's
Don't do that.
Hardware, or these various websites, people are outright vilifying Western Digital for doing a bait and switch and not telling the customer. But let me give you kind of the counter side, and I do think it's wrong that if you're going to change the parts, it's now a new device, give it a new model number. That makes sense. So Western Digital has come out and they said they'll do that. That in the future, if they change hardware like this, they will change the model number. So they recognize the error, but it's a little blown out of proportion because the scenario where you drop to 50% write performance is when you fill up the caching memory on it, and it has 12 gigabytes of caching memory. So the only time you'd run into this 50% degradation is when you're writing more than 12 gigabytes to the flash drive, which how often does that happen? Like
Daily. I'm writing it right now.
I guess, well, Daniel, you might be a good exception because I know you store virtual machines on external storage and then drag it in.
Yes.
So
I do work with that a lot. So yeah, I would see a performance hit on this, and that would be unfortunate. I'm not the kind of person that gets my ire up about that kind of thing. I just go, "Oh, that sucks," and I walk away from my computer, or I do something else, or I use another computer.
Is that something you could clear that cache?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not how that works.
It's not like, okay,
So that cache is there to like buffer the memory
to make it, go
or
move
buffer
more
the
quickly.
data that's being transferred. So once you fill that up with a file that's larger than that 12 gigabytes, that's where you'll start to see the performance degradation. So you would have to be moving a lot of files that are larger than 12 gigs.
Yep. And the moment a file's done copying, it empties
Yeah,
out.
it goes back out. It goes
So-
back to normal speed.
Yep.
Well, I believe one episode of this show on when we record it is
It's like 250 gigs or
it's
whatever.
probably like 60 gigs.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
All right.
So if you were doing a job
But I
like
wouldn't be
this,
doing that on
you would
here.
be upset because now all of a sudden it's taking you twice as long to transfer files than it did before.
Yeah. Although in the case of editing a 60 gig video file, what do you use? Like Adobe Premiere?
Mhm.
So Adobe Premiere is actually smart enough to say, I'm not going to load the entire file into
file.
RAM.
Well, that's what I was thinking when you're talking about cache, because it creates a cache kind of version of that too, and so I can clear that periodically when I need to save space. Then it takes a lot more time next time I open that
Right, 'cause
project.
that
It's got
stuff
to
isn't
recreate
there,
that. Yeah.
But
that
when
cache.
you first copy that file to the disk, you'd see that it
Right.
would effectively take twice as long after the first 12 gigabytes.
Yeah.
And then it's just the write speeds that are affected. The read speeds are still the same. So it's a sort of limited window.
Right is always the bottleneck, right? Because
Typically.
yeah.
Now our producer knows if I give her one of these great drives as a gift, she'll know it's not really a gift. All right.
I do fully expect to see these in Black Friday sales come November.
Oh,
'cause
I'm gonna snatch them up.
nobody's going to buy them.
Yeah.
Because they've gotten such bad press. And
Heck,
yeah.
man, I'll buy a lot of these.
Well, I
bad
wonder if there's a
boys.
way.
I'll put them in new enclosures and sell them as something else.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a way to look at the box and tell, if this is before this date or after this date when it was made. If there's like a serial number or something, so you can, put it on eBay as original legacy version.
I don't know about a date, but the big stink originally was that they didn't change any of the product
Yeah.
numbering. So there would be no real way to tell.
What does the box say? Speeds? I mean,
Oh, it does, yeah. And they
did they not change that?
so they
Well, they'd
left,
already printed those boxes.
they left their marketing with the original speeds. Yeah, that was another thing. So
right.
they have since updated that.
Yeah.
And they updated it by removing the right speed in many places, which will tell you what it is.
Yeah.
There's just a Walmart employee with all the boxes scratching out.
They're just sticker.
yeah.
That's
He
smart.
writes on the exact. You get 350, not 6.
All right.
There you
Well,
go.
well, let's move on to a story I thought would be funny, and then just kind of.
That's where you were wrong.
Yeah, it's infuriating. More so.
I knew you would like this one because of the picture in the article.
No, goodness gracious.
Well, and the
yeah.
picture looks like David Rose from Schitt's Creek, with his face blurred out, holding a naked mannequin. And Don's right. I love it. All right, this one is from arstechnica.com, and the headline is "Don't Be a Steve, a Nude Hunt. L.A. fisherman with the PH access 4,700 iCloud accounts, 620,000 photos. The attacker seems to have relied on social engineering to hoodwink his victims." That is a mouthful of a headline, but this is not the first iCloud leak hack that we've seen.
Guessing it won't be the last.
Yeah.
But
So-
still, people want to keep their nudie photos up there.
Well, in this case, I guess
Because
let's-
it automatically
Yes.
backs up to the cloud.
Yeah, but you can turn that off.
You can, but then that's like pushing buttons and doing stuff. And we're talking about people that call tech support and go, "How do I indent my sentence?"
They call tech support and go, "All my nudes are missing."
Yeah.
Yeah. The type of people that are taking nude pictures of themselves are not generally the type of people that
Here's
know.
the judgment from
Yeah. Here's
from
the
Moral
judgment.
Don.
Have you seen a hot IT technician nude website? Like, that doesn't exist.
That's
There's-
true.
Well,
Or does it?
I'm going to send you some
I'm not going to
photos.
Google for it.
Don's like, hold on.
Is this another trick to get me to type in porn keywords?
Yeah.
Because
So-
I'll do it.
Yeah, there's not a like Men of IT calendar that I've seen.
We talked about that last week. I said, why don't we do Edutainers of IT Pro TV calendar?
Dude, if you haven't seen the IT Crowd episode where they did a calendar shoot, it was stinking fun.
Oh, I need to see
yeah,
that one.
that's a good one.
Well then, so but Daniel's exactly right. If you buy an iPhone, they get you to sign in with an iCloud account. If you don't have one, it creates one for you. It's just a part of using the phone, and they tell you, hey, if you log in with your iCloud account, you can use the Find My iPhone service to find your phone, remote wipe it. You get all this security stuff. When you buy apps, you have to have an account. They tell you all that. They don't really come out so much and say, oh, by the way, we're going to store every photo that you take and all of your text messages, and we're going to store that up on our servers. And if you screw up, you could easily disclose that to anybody in the entire world, right? That's not in the marketing slick from Apple. So that's what we have here. And this isn't a true hack. Like, this guy didn't hack Apple's network.
No,
it was
he got
social
their
engineering.
passwords. Yeah.
And he did it through a few different ways. He was basically doing blanket emails, shooting as many emails as he could, hoping to get some hits. He got at least 306 victims, so a lot of people. And he had a few different ways that he was promoting this to get them to disclose their credentials. One way was where he would offer to give a person access to someone else's iCloud account. And so it was like a cheating
It's like a
spouse.
service.
password,
Yeah.
so I can-
Don, how do you keep your nude selfie safe?
Oh, definitely in iCloud. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just two-factor authentication.
Yeah.
No, I
See,
use
you
that
gotta
Western
turn that
Digital
on.
Drive, and that's why I'm so pissed. It takes my videos twice
Yeah.
as long to load now.
So yeah, he was effective. He got a ton of pictures. Somebody here in Florida, I think they were in Tampa. Yeah, a person in Tampa, undisclosed name, obviously.
Yeah.
But they found their picture on an adult website. Their own.
What were they
photo.
doing? No, I think they got like informed by an organization that looks for celebrity nudes. and
Wait,
lets
were
them
these
know.
celebrities again?
Yeah,
Oh,
this
was
was a celebrity. That's how they. That's how they found out.
I
this
did not
happened.
hear
So-
that part.
It's someone
okay.
from Tampa. I'm assuming
So
it's
the
a
person
wrestler.
in Tampa was a celebrity.
A wrestler.
So just look up most
Probably.
likely.
I was about to say it. So it's Hulk
I'm,
Hogan.
I'm
right?
thinking Hulk Hogan's daughter,
Brooke was it?
Brooke Hogan. Yeah.
No, I think it's Hulk Hogan.
There's a guy. Yeah.
Probably Hulk
it's-
Hogan.
I'm pretty
Hey,
sure.
brother, what are you doing with my nudes?
Well, I mean, he already had that video leak from Bubba the Love Sponge or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't
that
go
got
down that
weird.
rabbit hole.
Anywho,
Yep.
that's what happened. This company informed that celebrity that your nudes or your selfies
Yeah.
are available, and they sued this guy. And sued him. They had him arrested. He broke the law.
Yeah, This
Yeah.
is
So
criminal,
he-
not civil.
and they
Or
are a
both.
part of that suit. Therefore,
He pled guilty.
case, criminal case.
So he is like doing a what's it called? A plea bargain? Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Plea
is-
deal.
He is doing a plea deal.
He's like, I'll give you all the photos back.
It said that he could get up to it was something like 4 or 5 years in jail,
And
but
the judge is like, I'm going to go review these.
since it's
that doesn't
it's
seem
a
too
plea
long,
deal.
honestly. For
he'll probably just get like a year of probation or
Yeah,
something.
he's going to be
That's-
cleaning up trash on 275.
That's why these crimes keep happening. But it does highlight, and the lesson we can all take from this is, one, never give your credentials to anybody. Even the official company like Apple will never ask you for your credentials. Never share your credentials with anyone. Enable two-factor authentication when you can. And if you really want to, you can see Hulk Hogan nude whenever you want.
yeah, and don't trust the guy that says, I'll give you access to other photos I've stolen if you give me your password.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
That seems
I
I
think
say a celebrity. It says
the
it was
game
an
there
unnamed
was-
public figure in Tampa.
public figure. Yeah.
I wonder if it was, where's the Gates guy from, right? Or Getz? Who's in the
Matt
news?
Gets?
Yeah. Oh, he's
Isn't
from
he
the
Tallahassee?
East Coast, Florida, right?
So there's a lot of celebrities that live in Tampa.
I don't know. Yeah, there are.
Yeah,
There really
so
are. What the one thing confuses me here before we move on, it says he accessed 4,700 iCloud accounts, but then it says there were 306 victims. Does that mean he didn't steal all the
So
photos,
he
or
must
he just
have-
went through the
so
ones that he found
he
stuff he liked?
maybe they're saying that the victims are the ones that he actually extorted.
That could be, yeah. Well, regardless, not the greatest PR for iCloud, but again, as you said, Don, it's not iCloud's fault in this case. It is people's fault for giving that stuff out. But
So it says he cast his fishing net and 4,700 people responded. And then he picked through, it does say that he picked through roughly 200 of the victims, but then there were 306 victims altogether. So yeah, it's strange.
Weird
Yeah.
math.
We'll see. It's kind of a breaking story.
yeah, and it's in Tampa, so maybe we'll get one of those great Zoom trials again.
Well, the trial's in California, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's disappointing.
No, I thought it was Tampa.
Well,
He lives in California, but I think it said the trial was in Tampa.
maybe
Oh.
it's federal, interstate commerce of.
Maybe we can do a live
Yeah.
right from.
An unnamed
a live
public
event.
figure in Tampa where the court case was eventually held.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we'll get the Zoom photo bombers again then.
All right, get the mannequin. We're going.
That's great. I'm going to recreate the photo in there. All right, let's take a look at our last segment of the day, which is a look back at something we've already talked about. So this is Deja News.
Deja
News.
All right, so this is something just from last week. This
Yeah.
is at PCGamer.com. Windows 10 security was thwarted yet again, this time by SteelSeries peripherals. Because last week we talked about a Razer mouse that can give you admin rights to any Windows 10
Correct.
machine that you plug it into. And we already had people in the comments on YouTube going, just out of curiosity, where do I get this mouse?
Amazon.
I was like, all right.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
wondering how much is that? But we've got a new one. So this is, I assume, the same exploit they're taking advantage of.
Oh yes, yeah, and really, if we took the time, there's probably many hardware peripherals, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned that last week. I just thought it would take a little bit longer before we had another article like this, but SteelSeries also makes gaming mice, so it's right in that same thing. There's nothing special about mice that leads to this. It's any hardware that will automatically install a driver and that will allow you to browse to pick a location on the hard drive. So basically, the SteelSeries people, what they did is they immediately disabled the automatic software install, which I didn't know they could do, because it's technically Windows Update that pushes this.
Oh, yeah.
So they are able to, through whatever control panel or whatever Microsoft gives them, they're able to disable it. I'm surprised the Razer people didn't come out and say that, but maybe the SteelSeries techs are a little bit better. But they said they immediately disabled that, and they're just going to push out a version that doesn't let you pick where to install it. But
there you go.
it is, it's important. Razer obviously was in the news really big because they were kind of the first one.
Mhm.
And it's a
but-
bigger name, I feel like, in terms of.
Probably.
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
manufacturers.
just knowing the culture of the security researchers out there, as soon as something gets discovered, it's like it's a race to the bottom at that point. It's like, okay, well, if
I'm
peripherals
plugging
do
in
this,
everything.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go buy a bunch of just rando peripherals off of Amazon and see if any of them have the same type of
Yeah.
exploit, and then I get a CVE to my name.
I did think about it because I was running through my head all the different USB peripherals and stuff that I have, and not a single device I own, if I plug in, does it actually give me an interactive installer. All of them are automatic. Even like my Logitech webcam, which installs like three
Yeah,
different
all kinds of
Logitech
stuff.
apps,
Yeah.
it's all done in the background. I don't get any interaction.
Does that only happen the first time you put that in, though? Like, would you have to kind of try this on a new machine to see?
Well, it would be if you didn't have the driver.
Okay.
So if you had uninstalled the driver or you never installed it in the first place.
So I didn't realize that. Going back to what you were saying, Daniel, about getting your name on a CVE, is that I didn't realize that was a thing. So is that like when an astronomer discovers an asteroid, they get to name it? It's the same kind of thing here.
You find any kind of security issue that they'll label as a CVE, you get credit for that.
That's kind of like
and that's like a resume
little feather in
building
your
thing.
cap.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they don't. Does MITRE actually put that on their site? I don't think they do, right?
I
But,
don't know whether or not I never like paid attention.
But the
be honest
news
with you.
articles do, and
Oh,
that's
the
what you
news
stick on your
articles, yeah,
resume.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you could probably claim
and
some
you could,
CVEs.
there's got to be a way, because I know people put them on their resume to say this CVE is attributed to me. So there must be an
Must be
author
something
or
that
discovered by
stores that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up like
Yeah.
a recent CVE so I can find out, but they want me to. I don't want to search. Just show me the stupid CVEs.
Just hit the top, like, what's the last CVE? Doesn't have a list of it right there on their landing page.
You'd think.
Like, here's the most recently discovered CVE. I thought it did.
I am seeing all of their. Oh, it's their Twitter feed apparently that they show.
jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dang.
well,
Not
yeah.
worth it.
Obviously, MITRE is no longer a reputable company. They've got a Twitter account.
That's
how I
the
know
bar.
not to trust them. Yeah.
That's why I don't trust politicians anymore. They all
Yeah.
got Twitter. Before that,
CV.
I was big fan of politicians.
Before that, they were great.
Love the guys.
CV.miter.com.
Did you know that
CVE list.
that Don's mom is so dumb? When she saw the sign Disneyland left, she went home.
Did she?
It's kind of witty.
Okay, you laughed at that one.
Yeah, that
That's
was a
good.
good one. Because it was like, oh, you actually had to think on that one for
All
a
right,
second.
Last one. Remember, send in these Don Your Mama jokes at technator.com. Don's mom is so fat when God said, "Let there be light," he asked her to scoot a little bit out of the way.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, so I do have a CV. That joke was long enough for me to pull up a CV.
I was like, I got to fill time here for Don.
Good job.
And so, looking at CVE, they give us the description of it. They give references, numerous links, which do include, like in the one I'm looking at, several
Yeah.
GitHub repositories. So from that, if you were, I don't
Maybe you
know.
receive something from them when you're attributed.
Like your YouTube
attributed
plaque
to.
when you hit like a
Yeah.
Yeah.
million.
Like, I've never done it, so I don't know what the process
get on
is
that.
for.
Start plugging stuff into your computer, Daniel,
I
and
know,
see if you
right?
can.
I ain't
find
got
one
time for
does
that. I got to finish CEH.
That'd be great for
Yeah.
CEH.
I can't be looking for new vulnerabilities while I'm trying to teach everybody about the old ones.
Yeah, if we said this guy teaching you found this CVE and here's the proof.
Yeah. Buy me a bunch of stinking peripherals. I'll
I
get to
will.
work.
All right.
Yeah, so it looks like they don't put it on the site, which makes sense because they're really
Yeah.
just trying to report on here's a vulnerability.
Yeah.
But if you discovered it, I guess, it's like when you discover a new bug or something.
Yeah.
Well, you get to name a bug, but you don't.
Yeah. How does that work?
I guess
Can I just start lying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we can't find the way to attribute it,
Yeah,
just be
there's
like,
no way
all
to
these
verify.
CVEs, that was
Man,
me.
I am CVE.
I was so
Master
busy that week.
Supreme.
Matt, maybe that's why, because I know I've made fun of this before, but like when Spectre and Meltdown happened, remember
Yeah.
how they had already like trademarked the name
Right.
and had a web
Yeah.
page and a logo made. Like they
Hey,
wanted
you
to
just
make sure.
do what you feel like doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get a website whipped up and be like,
Go for
man,
it.
I found all these CVEs.
That's
Of
what
course, then
I'm
the
looking
real
for.
hacker will come after you.
Yeah, and he'll show you the CVs on your system you don't know about yet.
That's right.
All right, speaking of stuff you should know about, there's a webinar coming up from IT Pro TV on Thursday, September 9th, Azure Virtual Desktop versus Windows 365. Which is right for you? We'll find out as Adam Gordon and Mike Roderick go head-to-head. Check out the use cases for Windows 11, AVD, and Windows 365. That is, like I said, coming up Thursday, September 9th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Head over to itpro.tv/webinars where you can register for that one and see all the past webinars. And then head over to technado.com or technado.do. If you're so inclined, and you can see the latest episodes, and you can contact us with your favorite Your Mama jokes. For example, Don's mom is so dumb when they said it was chilly outside, she grabbed a bowl. You can put that over in the form because it's like chili.
I've not heard that one
Oh,
before.
man, that's good.
This is a great BuzzFeed article that I found with all these. So you can head over there. You can also hit that big orange button that says sponsored by IT Pro TV, and you can get a 30% off coupon code for the lifetime of your personal subscription membership to IT Pro TV. So head over there to technator.com and do that. Hey, we've also got a free Microsoft weekend because it is Microsoft month in September at IT Pro TV. That is the 18th and 19th, and we've got things like Microsoft 365 Fundamentals, PowerShell basics, PowerShell scripting, Azure Administrator Associate, AZ-104, and Microsoft Azure Security, AZ-500, which is getting some new updates now as well, and managing Microsoft Teams, MS-700. So go ahead and check those out. Head over to IT Pro TV and create a free account, and you can access those for free on the 18th and 19th of September. And yeah, that's all I got. Well, you guys got anything?
It looks like MITRE gives you an email verifying that you were the one that submitted this and it was been approved and accepted.
Well, there you go.
And
you can print that out, stick it on your resume.
It says, keep this. It's lovely.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to spend...
Because no one can forge an email, right?
No, not at all. Maybe with a, public key or some private key or something. I don't know.
Wow, these mama
digital
jokes,
signature.
These mom jokes are getting to
Digital
the point where I can't
signature.
even read these anymore.
That would do it.
Ooh, like blockchain.
Blockchain, perfect.
Your mom's so blockchain. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure we got a week to come up with that one. So, all right, you guys take it easy. Thanks again to Dimitri, and we'll see you next week right here on TechNado with Don Pizzette.